No. So what's the plan? Science only makes one mark. That's very difficult. You know, being so good at about your opinion on the author you're talking about.
I'm trying to
Yes.
Wait, can you see me? Can you see if I'm like this? I'll be fine.
Wait a minute. No, you should have learned. Oh, I did answer your question. She said, woohoo!
Okay. Kirakoto, welcome. It's really nice for us to all be here this morning and to celebrate all the work that you've been doing, not only over this module, but also over the trimester. Have a great show, team. Enjoy it. You've put in so much work, and it'll be wonderful to see the final products this morning. Little housekeeping. Everybody say hi to Robert. Robert is here. You would have seen from my emails, Robert's here taking some photos so we can capture. I was very offended that actually there was no 93 photos on the 93 poster. We need to rectify that. But Robert has very kindly offered that he'll make the photos available to everybody so we can document this moment for posterity.
I'll send you a link and you can disperse it.
I'll disperse it. Cool. Excellent. Also, you'll notice that we are recording again. Please don't rely on that for your portfolios because it's a whole process to extract the. Actually, what is Paul? We can't start.
Hello.
You actually can't start if we're not recording.
Is the red light on?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay!
Recording. So again, don't rely on these for your portfolios, but hopefully the link will be up by next week. Just a reminder that you have your debrief workshops this week. Won't be the full time, only be maybe 60, 90 minutes. We're going to have those in the green room unless that all goes horribly wrong this afternoon, in which case I'll send you an email to let you know. But I think most groups are planning on doing shared Kai, the last workshop of the trimester. And then next week, all you have is the 1 hour lecture, the debrief. We'll get celebrate, wrap up, and give you some top tips for what to write about in your portfolios. And it's all over. Okay. So we're in the opening stage. In just a moment, we'll have some pre-show. I'm going to take my seat. Chuggers team.
Awesome, guys. Hello, welcome to today's lecture. How are we all doing today? Well, welcome and thank you guys so much for being here. As we all know, in 9, science's light began to shine. At Padua City, in a modest house, Galileo Galilei, our wonderful guest lecturer for today, set out to prove that the sun is still and the earth is on the move. Come Right, don't you dare shut those books. I have got something for you.
What is it?
It is an armillary sphere. It is a contraption to show how the planets revolve around the Earth according to our forefathers.
How?
Well, let's examine it. Start at the beginning. Description.
In the middle there's a small sphere.
That's the Earth.
Around it there are rings, one inside another.
How many?
8.
Those are crystal spheres.
Attached to the spheres are little balls.
The stars.
And then there are bands with words painted on
What sort of words?
them. Names of stars.
Such as?
The lowest one is called the moon, it says, and above that's the sun.
Right, now get the sun moving.
That's great, but we're so shut in.
Yes, that's what I first thought when I saw one of those. For 2,000 years, people have believed that the sun and all the stars of heaven have rotated around mankind. Popes, professors, and school kids all thought that they were sitting motionless inside this crystal sphere. But now we are breaking out of it, Andrea, at full speed, because the old days are over and this is a new time. A vast desire has sprung up for the reasons to know everything. Why a stone falls when you let it go, and why one rises when you toss it up. Each day something fresh is discovered.
You better finish up soon, because people are sure to start arriving.
Have you understood what I told you yesterday?
What, all about copper, nickels, and turning?
Yes.
No. What do you want me to understand that for? It's all very difficult, and I'm not even 11 until October.
I particularly want you to understand it. Getting people to understand is the reason I keep on working. Right, sit down. Where's the sun? Right or left of you?
Left.
How does it get to be on your right?
Why are you carrying it to my right?
Oh, come on, isn't there any other way?
Well,
Now where's the sun?
on my right.
Did it move?
No.
So what did move?
Me.
No, you idiot, the chair!
With it.
Yes, of course, the earth is the chair and you are sitting on it.
Just what are you up to with my boy, Mr. Galileo?
Oh, teaching him to see, Mrs. Sarty.
What, by lugging him around the room?
Lay off, Mother, you don't understand.
Oh, don't I? And you do, is that it? There's a young gentleman wants some lessons. Very well dressed. Got a letter of introduction too. You'll have Andrea believing 2 and 2 makes 5 any minute now, Mr. Galileo.
Andrea and I have made discoveries which we can no longer hold back from the world. So you did understand something I told you yesterday.
But it isn't true. All you did with me in that chair was move it sideways, not like this.
Okay.
Or I'd have fallen off, and that's a fact.
Right.
Last night I realized that if the earth turned that way, I'd be hanging head downwards every night.
All right, here's the earth. And here is you standing on it. Now the earth's turning round.
And now I'm hanging head downwards.
Oh, but look at it closely. Where's your head?
There, underneath.
Oh, but isn't it in precisely the same position? Aren't your feet still underneath you? Ah,
Good morning, sir. My name's Louis Victor.
right. And you have been in Holland.
Yes, well, let's speak more about you, Mr. Curran.
And your family owns estates in the Campania.
Mother wants me to have Lexi, who was cooking in the world and all that.
And in Holland, they told you that in Italy, for instance, I was cooking.
Mother wants me to have Lexi into the sciences.
Right, private tuition is 10 scudi a month.
Very well, sir.
What are your main interests?
Horses.
Ha!
I haven't got the brains for the sciences, you see.
Ha! Right. In that case, we'll make it 15 scudi a month.
Very well, sir.
I'll have to take you first thing in the morning. You'll have to drop out of the course, Andrea. You don't pay, see?
I'm off. Can I have the apple?
Yep.
You have to be patient with me. You see, everything in science goes against a fellow's good sound common sense. I mean, take that queer tube in Amsterdam, for example. It's a green leather casing with 2 lenses, one curved this way and one the other way. Well, I'm told one magnifies while one reduces. But if that were the case, then anyone in their right mind would think that they cancel each other out. but they don't. The image becomes 5 times the size. I mean, that's science for you.
What appears 5 times the size?
Wow. Church spies and pigeons, anything far off.
And you said this tube had 2 lenses. Did it look like that?
Yeah.
How long is this invention?
No more than a couple of days since I left Poland.
And why did it have to be physics? Why couldn't you have picked a dead language or theology would have been easier? Right, come along on Tuesday morning.
Thank you.
Oh, don't give me that look, I accepted him.
Because I caught your eye in time. The procurator of the university's out there.
Oh, show him and he matters. There could be 500 scudi in this. I didn't have to bother with pupils. Good morning. Lend us half a scudo. Sati, tell Andrea to go to the spectacle makers and get 2 lenses. There's the prescription.
I come in connection with your application of Horizon salary to 1,000 scudi. I regret I cannot recommend it to the university. As you know, courses in mathematics simply do not attract new students. It is an unproductive art, not as essential as philosophy, or useful as theology.
Or the arts.
Not that our republic doesn't esteem it most highly.
My dear fellow, I can't manage on 500 scudi.
Mr. Galileo, your week consists of 2 two-hour lectures. Haven't you got private pupils?
Too many. I teach, and then I teach, and when am I supposed to learn? When am I supposed to do my research? The greatest questions still have nothing but hypotheses to go on.
Don't forget, even if the Republic pays less well than certain princes, it does guarantee freedom of research. That should mean something to you, being an astronomer. That's to say, operating in a field where for some time now the doctrines of the Church have hardly been treated with proper respect.
Your people handed over Giordano Bruno to Rome to be burned because he was propagating the ideas of Copernicus.
Not because he was propagating the ideas of Copernicus, which anyway are wrong, but because he was not a Venetian citizen and had no regular position.
The protection of freedom of thought is pretty good business, isn't it? By showing how everywhere else the Inquisition prevails and burns people, you get good teachers cheap for this place.
It's most unfair, Mr. Galileo. If you want money, you just have to produce something else. When selling knowledge, you can't ask more than the buyer is likely to make for it.
I see. Freedom of trade, freedom of research, free trading and research, is that it?
Really, Mr. Galileo, what a way of looking at it. Allow me to tell you, I don't quite understand your flippant remarks. Here you have a place to work, to research. Here nobody supervises you. Nobody suppresses you. As for the material aspects, why can't you give us another nice piece of work? Like those famous proportionate compasses of yours.
Kid stuff.
Here's something that fascinated and astonished our top minds and brought in good money too, and you call it kid stuff.
All the same, you've given me something to think about. Really, I may be able to let you have something of the kind that you like.
Could you? Well, that would be the answer. Mr. Galileo, allow me to tell you, we know you are a great man. A great but dissatisfied man, if I may say so.
Yes, I am dissatisfied. I admit I enjoy doing my thing for you, gentlemen of Venice. But you never give me the time to follow up on the hunches which come to me, which are so important to my branch of science.
Well, in that case, I mustn't interrupt you any longer. Good day.
Thank you. Fuck! Fucks! Oh no, why didn't you eat the apple?
I need to take a turn.
No, listen to me, Andre. Don't go talking to other people about our ideas.
Why not?
Because the big shots aren't allowing it.
But it's the truth.
But they're forbidding it! Something else. We physicists may think that we have all the answers, but it doesn't mean anything if we can't prove them. Even the ideas of a great man like Copernicus still need proving. Give me the lenses.
Your half scooter wasn't enough. I had to leave my coat as security.
How will you manage without a coat this morning? Have a look through that, Andre.
Holy Mary, it's all quite close.
That'll get us 500 scudi.
Right, well, no one's virtue is complete. Great Galileo liked to eat. You will not resent, we hope, the truth about his telescope.
Your Excellency, August Signora, today it is with great joy and all due deference that I find myself able to present and hand over to you a completely new instrument, namely my spyglass or telescope, the product of 17 years of patient research by your humble servant. Waste of time.
You'll be able to pay the butcher, old boy.
Oh yeah, they'll make money on this. Yay.
Your Excellency, August Signoria. Once again, a glorious page in the great book of the arts is inscribed in a Venetian hand. Today, a world-famous scholar is offering you, and you alone, this highly marketable tool for you to buy and sell as and how you wish. And now, Mr. Galileo invites you to accept this instrument, this testimonial to his intuition, at the hands of his enchanting woman.
Don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to stick this circus. These people think they're getting a lucrative plaything, but it is a lot more than that. Last night, I turned it on the moon.
What did you see?
The moon, get this, the moon doesn't generate its own light.
What?
I can make out the fortifications of Santa Rosita, Mr. Galileo. They're having dinner on that boat.
Fried fish, it makes me feel peckish.
Yes. Listen, I'm telling you, astronomy has stagnated for the last 1,000 years because we didn't have a telescope.
Mr. Galileo,
They want you.
this contraption, it lets you see far too much. I'll have to tell my women that they can no longer take baths on the roof.
Sorry? Listen, do you know what the Milky Way consists of?
No.
I do!
You know, one might ask 10 Scooty for a thing like that, Mr. Galileo.
Yes. Yes. I've even begun to wonder if I could use it to prove a certain theory.
Watch your step, the last person.
Your 500 Scooty are in the back. Mr. Galileo, His Excellency the Doge.
Of course, the 500. Are you satisfied, Your Excellency?
I'm afraid our republic needs a little bit of pretense before our city fathers can do anything for our scholars.
But what other incentives can there be, Mr. Galileo?
We need that pretense.
Did I do it all right?
It seems right to me.
What's the matter?
I guess a green leather casing would have been just as good.
Well, it looks to me like they're all very pleased with Father.
Strikes me there's no limit to anything about science.
way abolishes heaven.
But this goes against 2,000 years of astronomy.
It does. What you're seeing has been seen by no mortal except myself. You are the second.
But the moon can't be an Earth complete with mountains and valleys any more than the Earth can be a star.
Well, the moon can be an Earth complete with mountains and valleys, and the Earth can be a star.
In other words, there's no difference between the moon and the Earth.
Exactly. Apparently not.
10 years ago in Rome, they burnt a man at the stake for that. His name was Giordano Bruno, and that is what he said.
Exactly. And that is what we can see. Keep your eyes glued to the telescope, Sabrina, my friend. What you're seeing is the fact that there is no difference between heaven and earth. Today is 10 January 1610, and today mankind can write in its diary, got rid of heaven.
It is frightful.
I'm so sorry I'm late. There's the famous contraption. You might as well just throw it away. It's useless. Utterly useless.
Why's that?
Are you aware, sir, that this invention, which you told me was the fruit of 17 years of research, it can be bought on any street corner in Italy for a few scudos.
What are you worrying about? Thanks to this instrument, let me tell you, Mr. Galileo has just made some revolutionary discoveries about the universe.
Have a look for yourself, truly.
Let me tell you, it's quite enough that I've made my own personal discovery after getting Galileo's salary doubled for this piece of rubbish. Mr. Galileo, you once made a very fine water pump for the city, and your irrigation system works wonders. So, how was I to expect something like this?
Not so fast, truly. Sea passages are still long, hazardous, and expensive. We need a clock in the sky we can rely on. Guide for navigation, right? Well, I have reason to believe that this telescope will allow us to make clear sightings of certain stars that execute extremely regular movements. New star charts might save our shipping several million scudi per year.
Don't bother. This is far too much already. In return for my help, you have made me the laughing stock of this city.
It's really quite likable inside.
Did you know about these Dutch instruments?
Of course, by hearsay. But the one I made, these skinflints in the Signoria, was twice as good. How am I supposed to work with the bailiffs in the house? I'm going to show you another thing. Here, it's a bit rough, but we have Jupiter. Round it, we have 4 smaller neighbouring stars, which are invisible, except through to 2. I saw them on Monday, but without bothering to note their position. Yesterday, I looked again. I could swear the position of all 4 had changed. So I noted them. They've changed again. What is this? I saw 4. So you don't have a look.
I can see 3.
Where's the 4th? Look, here are the papers. We must figure out what movements they might have performed. Sagrina! There's the proof! The 4th one could only have gone behind Jupiter, where it can't be seen. So here, we have a star, with another one going around.
But what about the crystal sphere that Jupiter is attached to?
Yes. Where has it got to? How can Jupiter be attached if other stars circle around it? It's not some kind of prop in the sky or some base in the universe. It's another sun. They were right.
Who? Copernicus and his lot?
And the other fellow. The whole world was against them. They were right.
Oh, don't get worked up, Galileo!
Get worked up, Sagrito!
Oh, have you completely lost your head? Don't you realize what you'll be getting into if what you see in there is true? And if you go around telling all and sundry that the Earth is a planet and not the center of the universe?
Yes, and that the entire universe full of stars is revolving around our tiny little Earth. Anyone could guess.
In other words, there's just a lot of stars. Then what about God?
What do you mean?
What I'm asking is, where is God in your cosmography?
Within ourselves, or
Like the man they burned said?
like the man they burned said.
That's exactly what they burned him for! Less than 10 years back!
Because he couldn't prove it. Because it was just a hypothesis. Look, Sagrito, I believe in humanity. Which goes to say that I believe in human reason. If it wasn't for that belief, I wouldn't have the power to get out of bed each morning.
Good morning, Father.
Why are you at this hour?
Mrs. Sarti and I are going to early mass. Ludovico's coming too. What kind of night was it, Father?
Clear.
May I take a look?
What for? It's not a toy.
No. Of course not, Father.
Anyhow, the tube is a flop, so everyone will soon be telling you. You can get it for 3 scooty all over the place, and the Dutch invented it years ago.
Hasn't it helped you see anything fresh in the sky?
Nothing in your line, dear. Just a few dim little spots, the left of a rather large planet. Although, you will be interested to hear we might be moving to Florence. I've written to them to ask the Grand Duke if I could be his court mathematician.
At court?
Run along to your mass.
Don't go to Florence, Galileo.
Why not?
Because it's run by monks.
I will grab them by the scruff of the neck and drag them to the telescope. Even monks are human beings, Sagrito. Even they are subject to the seduction of proof.
Galileo, I see you embarking on a frightful road. It is a disastrous night when mankind sees the truth, and a delusive hour when it believes in human reason. Do you imagine the Pope will listen and hear to what you have to say and not just hear that he's wrong? Do you imagine he will merely note in his diary, January 10, 1610 got rid of heaven? I'm fond of science, Galileo, but I'm fonder of you. Don't go to Florence, Galileo.
If thou have me, I shall go.
Sorry.
celery in my basket.
You might want to go around.
Yeah, but it's kind of shit. Also part of it is
When Galileo was in Rome, a cardinal asked him to his home. He wined and dined him as his guest, and only made one small request.
Father, the hairdresser in Via del Tronco took me first. He made 4 other ladies wait. He knew your name right away.
They're only talking of you in Rome, but after tonight, they'll only be talking of your daughter.
I am to wait here for His Eminence the Cardinal. Go off and enjoy yourselves. Ugh, how can you go on playing old-style chess? Cramped, cramped. One is to move with the times, gentlemen. Is it going to be a large party?
Biggest carnival since the plague years.
Their Eminences, Cardinals Barberini and Bellarine.
The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to this place from where he arose. So says Solomon. And what does Galileo say?
When I was so high, Your Eminence, I stood on a ship and called out, "The shore is moving away." But today I realized that the shore was standing still and the ship moving away.
Ingenious, ingenious. What our eyes see, Bellarmine. In other words, the rotation of the starry heavens is not necessarily true. Witness the ship and the shore, but what is true, i.e. the rotation of the earth, cannot be perceived. Oh, ingenious.
We must move with the times, Barberini. We only disagree of such doctrines that run counter to our scriptures.
He that ruleth his spirit is better than he that taketh a city.
But a broken spirit drieth the bones.
Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? Welcome to Rome, Galileo, my friend. Are you sure you astronomers aren't merely out to make astronomy simpler for yourselves? You say the stars move like this. Suppose it had pleased God to make his stars move like this.
Your Eminence, if God had constructed the world like that, then he would have gone on to construct our brains like that. I believe in men's reason.
I believe men's reason is not up to the job. Silence. He's too polite to go on and say he thinks that mine isn't up to the job.
I believe in men's reason.
You need to take this down. It's a scientific discussion among friends.
But don't you think that the Creator had a better idea of what he was making than those he had created?
But surely, gentlemen, mankind may not only get the motions of the stars wrong, but the Bible too.
But isn't interpreting the Bible the work of the Holy Church and her theologians, wouldn't you say? You have no answer to that, have you? Tonight, Mr. Galilei, in line with the Church's view that the doctrine of corpus, where the sun is motionless and at the center of the cosmos, while the earth moves and is not the center of the cosmos, is foolish, absurd, heretical, and contrary to our faith. I have been charged to warn you must abandon this view.
And the facts? I understand that the Collegium Romanum had approved my observations.
The Holy Congregation took its decision without going into such details.
So in other words, all further scientific research
is explicitly guaranteed, in line with the Church's view that it is impossible for us to know, but legitimate for us to explore. None of us seriously believe you want to shake the men's faith in the Church.
What destroys faith is invoking it.
Really? Don't toss the baby out with the bathwater, Galileo, my friend. We shan't. We need you more than you need us.
Did you get that last sentence?
Just doing it. And the other part where he believes in men's reason.
Did the conversation take place?
Well, Cardinal Inquisitor, Mr. Galileo has arrived with his daughter. She's going to be married to Mr.
The transcript. Well, my daughter?
Oh, Your Eminence.
Permit me to congratulate you on your recent engagement. Your fiancé is from a distinguished family. Will you be staying long in Rome?
Oh, not this time, Your Eminence. A wedding takes so much preparing.
Then you will be returning to Florence with your father. I expect he needs you. It's easy to get lost in the world of the stars with its immense distances if one is a great man.
You are very kind, Your Eminence, but I'm afraid I know practically nothing about such things.
Indeed. In the fisherman's house, no one eats fish, eh? It will just tickle your father to hear that all your knowledge of the world comes ultimately from me, my child. From Ptolemy's time up into the present day, we reckon that the entirety of creation measured about 20,000 diameters of the earth across. Apparently your father feels that it is unimaginably far flung, and that the earth's distance from the sun is so minute compared to the fixed stars in the outermost sphere we can simply Yes, indeed. Some members of the Holy See have begun objecting, as it were, to such a view, compared with which ours has been a little miniature, such as one might hang around the neck of certain young ladies. By the way, do I know your father, Confessor?
Father Christophorus of St. Ursula.
Of course. But get up, child, and go dance. I am keeping you. Besides, I'll be making your fiancé jealous. Only mind you remember me to Father Christophorus. Galileo,
Feeling grim, a young monk came to visit him.
Monk
Was born of common folk. It was of science that they spoke.
Mr. Galileo, I have been unable to sleep for 3 days. Well, I couldn't see how to reconcile the decree I read with the moons of Jupiter which I observed. Today, I decided to say an early mass and come to you.
In order to tell me that Jupiter has no moons?
No, I have managed to see the wisdom of the decree. It has drawn my attention to the potential dangers for humanity in wholly unrestricted research. And I've decided to give astronomy up. But I also wanted to explain to you the motives which can make even an astronomer renounce pursuing that doctrine any further.
I can assure you such motives are familiar to me.
Yes, I understand your business. See, you have in mind certain exceptional powers of enforcement at the church's disposal.
It's called them instruments of torture.
Yes, but you see, I am referring to other motives. Let me speak about myself. My parents were peasants in the Campagna, and I grew up there. They are badly off, but even their misfortunes imply a certain order. You see, they draw the strength they need from the feeling of stability provided by the little church, and of listening to the Bible passages read there every Sunday. They have been assured that God's eye is always on them. So, God, what would my people say if I told them that they happen to be on a second-rate star? Just one among the myriads. What would be the value or necessity of so much patience, such understanding of their own poverty? Can you see now why I read the Holy Congregation's decree to be a noble, motherly compassion?
Why does order in this country mean the orderliness of a bare cupboard and necessity nothing but the need to work oneself to death? Your companion peasants are paying for the wars in which the representative of gentle Jesus is waging in Germany and Spain. Why does he make Earth the center of the universe? So that the Sea of St. Peter is the center of the Earth. You're right. It's not about the planets. It's about the companion peasants. I'm supposed to tell you people these lies.
We have the highest of all motives for keeping our mouths shut. The peace of mind for the less fortunate.
If I were to keep my mouth shut, my motives would be thoroughly low ones. An easy life, freedom from persecution, and so on. The sum of the angles in a triangle cannot be varied to suit the Vatican's convenience.
Yes, but don't you think that the truth will get through without us? So long as it's true?
No. The only truth that will get through is one in which we force through. I see your people's divine patience, but where is their divine anger? Here, you have reasons why the ocean moves, ebbing and flowing, but you're not supposed to read it, do you hear? Oh, you've already started. An apple from the tree of knowledge, he's wolfing it down. He is damned forever, but he's got to wolf it down, that poor glutton.
I don't understand the sentence.
I'll explain it to you.
Of what he knew, he did not speak.
Then temptation grew too great, as Galileo challenged fate.
That one's for entertaining in the long term. Ludovico likes entertaining. It's got to be neat though, it's how they can spot every loose thread. She doesn't like Father's books. Nor Father Christophorus. He hasn't written a book in years. I think he realises he was wrong. A very high church person in Rome once told me a lot about history. Just as
Thursday, PM, floating bodies. As before, ice. Bucket of water, balance, iron needle, Aristotle.
Virginia, I really want you to talk to me about your marriage. You're such a child still, little mother. And your father keeps putting those little bits of ice and water. I really think you ought to go to the university and get a proper astronomer to read your horoscope. Then you'll know what you're actually in for.
I've already been. For 3 months, I want to be careful because the sun will be in Aries. But then I should get a particularly favourable because the clouds will part.
I have something that might interest your father.
What's it about?
I don't know. Ridiculous and soul?
About sunspots. Yeah, another. I read the treatise on sunspots, written by Fabricius in Holland. They think the clusters of stars passing between the sun and the earth.
Doubt that, Mr. Galileo.
In Paris and in Prague, they think they're vapors from the sun. Fitters only doubts it.
Leave me out of it, would you? I said, that's all. I'm your lens grinder. I grind the lenses, and you make observations of the sky through them. And if what you see isn't spots but nucleus, how am I to doubt anything? And how often do I have to tell you? I can't read the books. They're in Latin.
Why aren't we investigating those sunspots, Mr. Galileo? The whole of Europe wants to know what you think. You've such a reputation now. You can't just say nothing.
Roman armies get a reputation because I said nothing.
But you can't go on saying nothing now.
I can no longer afford to be roasted over an open fire like a ham.
Right. Stick to these bits of ice. They can't hurt you.
Right. Our proposition, Andrea.
Floating. We assume that it depends not on the body's form, but on whether it is lighter or heavier than water.
And what does Aristotle say?
The ice will float, whereas an iron needle will sink.
And why does the ice not sink in Aristotle's view?
Well, because it is broad and flat, and therefore it will divide the water.
Right. Now, I'm pushing this ice as hard as I can against the bottom of this bucket. I release the pressure of my hands. What happens?
It goes back up to the top.
Right. The ice seems to disperse the water will rise as it rises.
Yes, well, the ice goes back up to the top. It's heavier than water. It's concentrated water.
Yes, but suppose it were thinned down water.
Everything lighter than water floats, so it has to be lighter than water to float, and heavier will sink.
Andrea, you must learn to think more cautiously. Is iron heavier than water?
Yes.
What happens?
It's floating! Holy Aristotle, they never checked up on it!
What is it?
Whenever they laugh, it gives me a turn. What are they laughing about? You know, I was gonna say.
All he's doing there is put bits of ice and water that can't do much harm.
I don't know.
Why did you write and say you were coming? Oh, I happened to be the area inspecting the vineyards of Italy. I mean, I couldn't really resist the chance.
Yeah, Ludovico, how are the horses?
Doing fine, sir?
Sarti, get us a jug of that Sicilian wine, the old kind. We're celebrating.
Wait a moment, I'll show you my wedding dress.
Sit down.
Yeah.
in the holy city aside from fresh lapses of judgment upon my part?
Well, I suppose you know His Holiness is dying.
Who do they think will succeed him?
The favourites of Barberini.
Ah, so now there are neither people like Barberini who have done a bit of mathematics. Fiderzoni, we may yet see the day when we no longer have to look over our shoulders like criminals when we say 2 and 2 makes 4. Andrea, clear away all that stuff, lice, the buckets, all of it.
Starting up the earth around the sun act again.
Surely you're not starting up that devilish business again, Mr. Galileo?
Barberini and the Ascendant. Calvius is right, those sunspots, they do interest me. Do you like my wine, Ludovico? Do you really like it?
I like it.
Would you go so far as to accept the man's wine, his daughter, without forcing him to give up his entire profession? The phases of Venus can no longer alter my daughter's backside.
Don't be so vulgar. I'll go and fetch Virginia. Marriages in families like ours are not purely based on sexual considerations. My wife will also have to take her place in our pew in the village church.
Do you believe your peasants will go by the sacredness of their mistresses in deciding whether to pay rent or not?
In a sense, yes. I mean, you did sign a declaration in Rome saying that you would have nothing more to do with this whole earth round the sun.
And in those days, we had a reactionary pope.
And His Holiness not even teaches.
If His Holiness does die, Mr. Galilei, irrespective to who the next pope might be or how intense his devotion to the sciences, he will also have to take into account the devotion felt for him by the most respected of families in the land.
God made the physical world, God made the human brain, God will permit...
Galileo, I'm going to say something to you. I've watched my son slipping into sin with all these observations and theories and experiments, and there was nothing I could do about it. You have stood up against the authorities, and they've already warned you once. If I choose to forfeit eternal bliss by sticking with the heretic, that's my business. But you have no right to trample all over your daughter's happiness with your great feet.
Bring me my telescope.
Shall we get over this? You can tell me yourself.
Mr. Galileo, my mother and I can assure you that our peasants will not be disturbed by your papers on Jupiter and its moons. But they could, however, be upset if they were to find out that the frivolous attacks on the Church's sacred doctrine were in future to go unpunished. You, Mr. Galileo, eat our olives and cheese with no thought. You have no idea how much trouble it takes to produce them, how much supervision.
Young man, I do not eat my olives and my cheese without a thought. Now go away, you're holding me up.
You will always be a slave to your passions. Make my excuses for Virginia.
Your dowry will remain available to you at any time.
Good day.
The Pope will be an enlightened man. Take the cloth off the lens and point the telescope at the sun.
You sent him away, Father.
I've got to know. Just got to know.
Honored inhabitants, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the great carnival procession of the Guild!
We are going to be singing the latest song from Munich, which is being sung all over North Germany and has been imported to us at vast expense. It is called
Ye Horrible Doctrine and Opinions of Mr. Galileo Galilei! References to the court, our foretaste of ye future!
When the good Lord made the universe, he made the earth, and he made the sun. And then around the earth he made the sun to turn. That's in the Bible, Genesis chapter 1. And then all creatures here below were in obedient circles meant to go.
And so, the circles were woven. Around the greater went the smaller, around the pacesetter the crawler, on earth as it is in heaven, around the Kaiser, the admirals,
around the admirals, the generals,
around the generals, the secretaries,
around the secretaries, the soldiers,
around the soldiers, the workers,
around the workers, the servants,
around the servants, the dogs,
the chickens,
and the beggars.
That, my friends, is the great order. Ordo idolum, as the theologians say. Regular ad honis, rule of rules. But what, my friends, happens next?
Up stood the learned Galileo.
Chucked away the Bible, whipped out his telescope, and took a quick peek at the universe.
And he said to the sun, "Stop there! For now the whole world should turn as I think fair. The bus starts turning from today!"
Honorable inhabitants, such doctrines are utterly impossible. The sun stays sitting on his ass.
The turning turned his head.
The altar boy won't serve this mess.
The apprentice stays in bed. No. The Bible is no matter small. Once let a dog off its lead, all loyalty ceases. When things true, pleasures are few. I ask you all, wouldn't one like to do and say as one pleases?
Shh! No, stop, Galileo, stop. Once take a mad dog's muzzle off, it spreads diseases. People must keep their place. Some down and some on top. Although it's nice for once to do just as one pleases.
Oh my God, good people who serve cruel lords and gentle Jesus,
who bid you turn the other cheek so there's better place to strike the second blow.
Obedience isn't gonna cure your woe.
So everyone, wake up and do just as he pleases.
go before us this gathering of doctors from every faculty, representatives of every order, all with a naive faith in the empire as set down in scripture, and tell them that that scripture is no longer true.
I'm not going to have the multiplication table broken, no.
Ah, it's the multiplication table, not the spirit of insubordination and doubt. That's what these people will tell you. But no, terrible restlessness has descended upon the world. The restlessness of their own brain, which these people have transferred to the unmoving earth.
We to base human society on doubt and no longer on faith.
You are my lord, but I doubt if that's a good thing.
This is your house and your word, but I doubt if it shouldn't be mine. For the last 15 years, Germany has been running with blood. Men have hacked each other into pieces while they quoted the Bible.
So what do these wretched mathematicians do in going points their tubes at the sky and informs the whole world that your holiness is hopelessly at sea in the one area they have yet to deny you?
Ever since they began voyaging across the sea, they have placed their faith in this brass ball they call a compass.
Not in God! This evil man knows what he is doing when he writes his astronomical works. Not in Latin, but in the idiom of fishwives and woolnich.
That's very bad taste, I shall tell him. After all, the man is the greatest physicist of our time, the light of Germany, and not just any old crank. He has friends. They'll call the empire a cesspool of decomposing prejudices.
Practically speaking, one would not push it very far with him.
He is a man of flesh. He would
give
in
in
immediately!
He enjoys himself in more ways than any man I've ever met. His thinking springs from sensuality. Give him an old wine or a new idea and he cannot say no. But I won't have any condemnation of the physical facts, no war cries of up the empire, up reason. I let him write his book on condition that he finished it by saying the last words they were faith, not science, and he met that condition.
But how? His book shows a stupid man representing the views of Aristotle.
Of course.
Arguing with a clever one who,
of course,
is representing his own views. And who,
Your Holiness,
delivers the final remark.
What did you say? Well, which of them expresses our view?
Not the clever one.
Yes, that is an impertinence. At the very most, it can be shown the instruments.
That would be enough.
Instruments in Mr. Galileo's speciality.
1906, June 23, a momentous day for you and me. Of all the days, that was the one an age of reason could have begun.
This place wouldn't receive him. No more discussions about science.
It was his last hope.
Because he'll kill him. The discussing will never be finished.
You think so?
Because he'll never recant.
This is his 24th day in prison. Yesterday was the chief hearing, and today they shall be sitting on it. At the time I came to see him, 2 days after the decree, sat over there and he showed me the little priapus by the sundial in the garden. You can see it from here. And he compared his own work to a poem by Horace, which couldn't be altered either. He spoke of a sense of beauty, and that was what drove him to seek the truth. He's quoted the motto, Heme et aste et prope et procul, uste dum bibiam et ultra. And he was referring to the truth.
Have you told him how he stood in the Frederick Wilhelm's University when they were testing his tube? Tell him! He had his hands on his hams and he thrust out his hips and he'd said, I'd like a bit of reason, gentlemen. she's writing the account.
Leave her alone. She's been all confused ever since they brought her father confessor down from Munich.
Mr. Galileo will be here shortly. He may need a bed.
Have they released him?
Mr. Galileo is expected to recant at around 5 o'clock. The grand bell of St. Mark's will be rung and his recantation will be proclaimed in public.
It's 3 minutes past the hour. Nothing happened.
He's holding out.
He's not recanting.
So force won't do the trick. So there are some things it can't do. It's not invulnerable. So man is not afraid of death.
It's truly the start of the hour. It's truly the start of the age of knowledge. What if he would come?
I didn't say, but I was worried silly.
But I knew.
Hot off the press, read all about it. Galileo Galilei has recanted.
I, Galileo Galilei, teacher of physics and mathematics in Munich, abjure what I have taught.
Namely, that the sun is the centre of the universe and motionless, and the earth is not the centre and not motionless. I forswear, detest, and curse with sincere heart and unfeigned faith any of these errors and any further opinion repugnant to the German Empire.
You know, we never pay you for your work. You could never publish your own stuff or buy yourself new bridges. You stood for it only because it was working for the sake of science.
Oh, unhappy the land that has no heroes. I can't look at him. Get him away.
Calm down.
Vine pump! Snail eater! Did you save your precious skin? I feel ill.
Give me a glass of water. No. Unhappy the land where heroes are needed. Is it not obvious that a horse falling from a height of 3 or 4 ells will break its legs? Whereas a dog would not suffer any damage, nor would a cat if it were to fall from a height of 8 or 9 ells, nor a cricket from a tower, nor an ant, even if it were to fall from the moon. And just as smaller animals are comparatively stronger than larger ones, so small plants too stand up better. An oak tree, 200 ells high, cannot sustain its branches in the same proportion as a small oak tree. Nor can nature horse grow the size of 20 horses, or produce a giant 10 times the size of man, unless it changes all the proportions of the limbs, and especially of the bones, which would have to be strengthened far beyond the size demanded by any proportion. The common assumption that large and small machines are equally durable is apparently erroneous. Galileo Discorsi.
Geese. Any name on them?
No.
Heavy. I could eat some of that.
Don't tell me you're hungry again. You just has a supper.
Has he been writing again?
No, he dictated his book to me. As you know, you've had pages 131 and 132, and those were the last.
He's an old fox.
He's doing nothing contrary to the instruction. His reputation is curious.
Where have I got to?
Section 4. With respect to the German Empire, the unrest in Mill in Asperg. I agree with the attitude I adopted
Yes.
towards them.
I agree with the attitude adopted by Admiral Schroeder towards the disaffected cloth makers. Namely, that it is better to hand out soup to them in the name of Christian brotherly love than to pay them more for their silks and linens. Especially as it seems wiser to encourage their loyalty rather than their greed. The Apostle Paul says, "Charity never faileth." How's that?
That's wonderful, Father.
You don't think a suspicion of irony might be read into it?
No. The General will be delighted. He's so practical.
I trust your judgment. What's next?
A most beautiful saying, when I'm weak, that I'm strong.
No comment.
Why not?
What's next?
Good evening. I'm leaving Germany to do some research in Holland, and they asked me to look him up on my way through.
I don't know if you want to see you or not. You never came.
Ask him.
Is that Andrea?
Yes. Shall I send him away?
Show him in.
He's harmless. Used to be his pupil, so now he's enemy.
Leave us, Virginia.
I want to hear what he got to say.
How are you?
My health is good. They pay me every attention.
Glad that I can report that your health is good.
Fabrizius will be glad to hear it. You can tell him I live in corresponding comfort. Debt that my repentance has earned me enough credit with my superiors to be permitted to conduct scientific studies on a modest scale under clerical supervision.
That's right. We too heard that the Kaiser is more than pleased with you. But utter capitulation has been effective. The authorities are pleased to report that not a single paper expounding new theories has been published in Germany since you towed the line.
I feel concerned for certain scientific friends whom I had led into error. Did they learn anything from my recantation?
If I'm to continue my research, I have to travel to Holland. They won't permit the ox anything that Jove won't permit himself.
I see.
And Zoni is back to grinding lenses in some shop in Hamburg.
He doesn't know Latin.
Friedrich, our little soldier, has given up science and returned back to the bosom of the Empire.
Yes. See to the geese, Virginia.
I don't like that man. His harmless. You heard them?
I'm to travel all night if I'm to arrive at the frontier early tomorrow morning. May I go?
I finished the discourse.
What? The discourses containing 2 new sciences, mechanics and locomotion. Here.
Oh. They let me have pens and paper. My masters aren't stupid. They realize that deeply ingrained vices can't be snapped off just like that. They shield me from any undesirable consequences by locking the pages away as I write them.
You've got a transcript.
So far, my vanity has stopped me from destroying it.
Where is it?
The transcript is inside that contraption. Should you think of taking it to Holland, you would, of course, have to bear the entire responsibility. In that case, you would have bought it from somebody who had access to the original in the Kaiser Wilhelm Palace.
The Discorsi! It is my purpose to establish an entirely new science in regard to a very old problem, namely motion. By means of experiments, I have discovered some of its properties, which are worth knowing.
And to do something with my time?
This will found a new physics.
Really?
We thought you had deserted. No voice against yours was louder than mine.
Very proper. I taught you science and I denied the truth.
This changes everything. Everything.
Really?
So in 33, when you chose to recant a popular point, I ought to have known that you're simply backing out of a hopeless political wrangle to get on with the real business of science.
Which is?
Studying motion, the mother of all machines which alone can make earth so good that heaven can be cleared away.
Ha.
You gained the leisure to write a scientific work which could be written by nobody else. If you had the stake in a hail of flames, the other side would have won.
They did win. And there is no scientific work that can only be written by one particular man.
Why did you recant then?
I recanted because I was afraid of physical pain.
No!
They showed me the instruments.
So it wasn't planned.
It was not.
Science only makes one demand. Contribution to science.
And I met it. Welcome to the gutter, brother in science and cousin in betrayal. Oh, irresistible glimpse of the book, the sacred commodity. Blessed be our whitewashing, horse-trading, death-bearing community.
Human weaknesses don't matter to science. Fearing death is human.
Don't they? My dear Sut, even as I now am, I think I can still give you a tip or two as to what matters to that science you have dedicated yourself to. In my spare time, of which I have plenty, I've gone over my case and considered how it is going to be judged by that world of science of which I no longer count myself a member. The pursuit of science deals with creating knowledge for all, about all. It aims to turn all of us into doubters. Now, the bulk of the population is kept by its princes, landlords, and generals in a pearly haze of superstition and old proverbs which cloak what these people are up to. Our new art of doubting delighted the mass audience. They tore the telescope out of our hands and trained it on their tormentors, landlords, and generals. These selfish and domineering men found that the cold eye of science had turned on a primeval but contrived poverty that could clearly be swept away if they were swept away themselves. They showered us with threats and bribes, irresistible to feeble souls. But can we deny ourselves to the crowd and still be scientists? The movements of the heavenly bodies have become more comprehensible. But the people are as far as ever from calculating the movements of their rulers. The battle for a measurable heaven has been won, thanks to doubt. But the housewife's battle for milk will be lost time and time again, thanks to credulity. Science, Sati, is involved with both of these battles. To what end are you working? Presumably, for the principle that science's sole aim must be to lighten the burden of human existence. If the scientists, brought to heel by self-interested rulers, content themselves with piling up knowledge for knowledge's sake, then you may in due course discover all that there is to discover, but your progress will nonetheless be nothing but progress away from mankind. The gap between you and it may one day grow so great that your cry of triumph over some new achievement will be echoed by a universal cry of horror. As a scientist, I had a unique opportunity. In my day, astronomy emerged into the marketplace. Given this unique situation, had one man put up a fight, it might have had tremendous repercussions. Had I stood firm, scientists could have developed a vow to use their knowledge exclusively for mankind's benefit. What's more, Sati, I've come to the conclusion I was never in any real danger. For a few years, I was as strong as the authorities, and I handed my knowledge over to those in power for them to use, fail to use, misuse, whatever best suited their objectives. I betrayed my profession. A man who does what I did cannot be tolerated in the ranks of science.
You are accepted in the realm of faithful.
Correct. Now I must eat. You're a teacher yourself now. Can you afford to take a hand like mine?
So you no longer believe a new age has started?
On the contrary. Look out for yourself when you pass through Germany with the truth under your coat.
About your opinion on the author we're talking about. Still don't know how to answer. Still, cannot think your devastating analysis will be the last word.
Thank you very much, sir.
We don't know visit over the past. They excite him.
Got any idea who might have sent the geese?
Not Andre.
Perhaps not. What's the night like?
Clear.
that book you have?
It's by Aristotle, the great philosopher.
Who is he when he is at home?
He's been dead for years.
Check it over, see if there's any mention of religion in it.
I can't see nothing.
All the searching's a bit of a waste of time anyway. Anyone who wanted to hide something from us would not put it right under our noses like this. You have a sign saying that we've examined it all?
There's that too, see? Wasn't that there before? The devil put it there. It's a box. No, it belongs to the foreigner. Well, I wouldn't touch it. She put the evil eye on old Patsy's horses, and when I looked in through the hole made by the blizzard, I heard them tossing.
Devil's trick, what? Well, you can't check everything. Never get it done.
Shut the boxes. Is that all?
You're a scholar. Tell me, can people fly through the air?
Wait a moment.
You may go through. Halt! What's in that box?
Books. Open it.
How many are there?
34.
How long will it take you to go through?
It's nothing but printed stuff. It'll mean you'll miss your breakfast. And when am I able to get over to Passy's stable to collect the road tax based on the sold of his house? If I'm to go through all this.
Right. Need that money. Besides, what could there be in those? Off with you.
Look! I told you it was the devil.
No. It was me. You should learn to use your eyes. Oh! I didn't answer your question, Giuseppe. People can't ride through the air on a stick. You'd need to have a machine on it, to say the least. But there's no machine like that yet. At least, not yet. There's a lot that we don't know, Giuseppe. We're really just at the beginning.
And we start to take things very neatly, put them back really neatly down in the wardrobe.
And we'll see you at your debriefs. Thank you.
Yeah.